welcome to Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I'm Pannon.
And I'm B-Fire.
And I'm David.
Yay, we got it that time. I'm going to be proud of us every week that happens. Welcome to the show. If you guys would ever like to contact us, reach out, tell us horror stories, fun stories, just heartwarming convention stories, tell us how you're doing, you can reach us on our email at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or
go to the website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, and you can fill out the contact form there, or
you can go to our Facebook page, join our Facebook group, join our Work in Progress Wednesdays, share everything about your cosplay. We want to see it all. And you can message us your cosplay horror story there as well. And while you're on the internet, go ahead, leave us a review on Apple Podcast or Stitcher or Podchaser or wherever. We would love to hear your feedback.
Hooray! Also, we have a Patreon. If you guys would like to help support us, we're at patreon.com/cosplaystitch. And you can follow our D&D adventures, which are the Cosplay Chronicles, nerdy D&D cosplay adventures. You get those episodes released with video format ahead of time, but we will still release the audio format later. Just patrons get it first.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Get it first, get some video, get some silly drawings, all that stuff.
The drawing on this one was so unique, and
it really was.
I'm going to use it as the promo image for ConCon. ConCon, come meet these actors.
Yes. Excellent. Good. So our topic for this week, we thought, with all the bad things going on in 2020, we thought, let's do a fun little retrospective and talk about the good things in the past decade.
Yeah!
That led up to now.
Oh.
So we're looking back on a decade of cosplay, and we actually have a guest with us today. It's Momma Sammu. Tell us about yourself and where we can find you.
Hello, I am Momma Sammu. You can call me Sammu, whatever works. I am Momma Sammu on Instagram, on Twitch, on Facebook, on Twitter, everything. I've managed to claim it. I'm very proud of that. It's like, if it's Momma Sammu, it's me. I Twitch stream a lot. If you want to actually actively see me, I stream on Twitch 3 to 4 days a week. I'm currently on hiatus, though by the time this comes out, that might have changed. But yeah, so I tend to stream my cosplay, making stuff live. If you want to see my finished work, Instagram's where I'm most active, and also TikTok, oddly enough, because I'm one of those millennials that got sucked into TikTok. Honestly, it's a reason to dress up. Let's be honest. Didn't say it is. It's a reason.
That's fair. Well, tell us a little bit about how you got into cosplay, when you got into cosplay.
I got into cosplay 14 years ago at KimuraCon 2006.
Nice.
Yeah, that's officially half of my life now.
Wow.
I hit that halfway mark, and it's every time I think about it, I go, wow. I'm doing this longer than I have it now.
Man.
I have never thought about that.
Don't do the math. It's a little bit shocking when you do the math the first time and go, oh no, I'm close.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm there.
Wait,
oh, man.
Are you there, Pannon?
I think I'm there because I started cosplay in 2001, and right. I was not 19 years old in 2001.
Let's say you're
man.
Yeah. Sorry to make you think about it that way, but that's where I've been for the past month or so.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So yeah, we've been at it a while. I think between the two of us, it's just a stupid amount of time.
Yeah. I'm almost at the double decade.
Oh, man.
I know.
I'm so proud. So anyways, I got into cosplay. So I actually been attending conventions since I was 8 years old because my parents.
Oh wow.
My parents staffed them, so they brought me when I was a little kid. Like when I was 2 years old, I would be there during setup, tumbling across the setup floor, and then my grandma would come pick me up for the weekend, and then they'd bring me back Sunday night, and I'd go to the dead dog party and be like, there would be a cluster of 5 to 10-year-olds in the corner while the parents were just being like, we're tired, we're the staff, we're having a little bit of a drink, and we were yeah, there was a couple people watching us, and yeah, that was how I grew up. There's a picture of me in a cupboard with 2 other con kids going, "See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil."
Oh,
And I
goodness.
think I was 8 years old, and that was the program cover for the next year.
So,
Aw.
so what got you to jump from being a small child helping staff at conventions to wanting to put on costumes?
I wanted people my age. There were maybe a half dozen of us who would staff, and it was fun to run around. But I got into anime when I was in middle school. So for a few years, we were at the anime nerd table, which also happened to be the goth emo table because that's just how it happened.
You know.
That's just how it goes. So, also side note, if you were goth at any point, you have a closet cosplay. Just saying.
Hey, you're not wrong, but hey.
It's the bonuses to having had / still having a goth phase.
Oh man.
Anyway, so I got into anime when I was in middle school, and I wanted to, find other anime fans. And a friend mentioned that there was a convention all about anime with a bunch of people my age, and I went, "Oh, that sounds fun." And my parents went, "Yeah, another convention. We raised you in those. Go ahead, have fun." They had friends who were attending and actually staffing who could keep an eye on me, so I was safe, I promise. But that's how ingrained I already was. Like, as a 14-year-old, I had people on staff who'd known me since I was 3.
Oh dang.
So my first con, we bought a cosplay Chi from Chobits, because totally appropriate thing for a 14-year-old to be dressed as.
Oh.
I did not realize until I was much older how well, that was a choice that I made. My parents bought it for me. Like, I think they watched the anime with me too. Like, my upbringing.
Yeah.
Very unique. Hey, my parents, they gave me the information, and I can do with it what I will.
Yep.
There you go.
You know,
Like you do.
I turned out pretty good anyway. So it's my first con. I went there, didn't have a wig. I had a blast. I was addicted, and very quickly started going to anime cons and wanting more cosplays and wanting to do more characters. And a couple years in, we started making stuff. There was stuff that my mom was like, I don't want to. Or I was like, I don't want to make my mom make this because it's a crop top and booty shorts.
Aww.
So I will learn how to sew, because it was Red 13, like humanoid Red 13.
Right.
Ooh,
This was the
I
first
love
thing
it.
First thing I ever made. The insides are hot glued.
Oh man, we just barely had an episode on Kijinka, so yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So that was my first cosplay that got attention. Full body paint back in 2009.
Wow.
2008, 2009, yeah,
Nice.
back with Cryolan Aquacolor when no one was doing this kind of thing. I couldn't move 2 feet. It was my first Sakura-con up in Seattle, first away con. So that was the first thing I ever made. So I've been sewing for 12 years. Yeah, making my own stuff for about that long. And before that, my mom helped me and got me started. Yeah.
So you started out because you didn't want your mom to have to sew you something. What inspires you nowadays to keep cosplaying?
I want to learn the next shiny technique.
Aww.
I wanna be able to make a thing that people go, "That's impossible. That can't be made." I go, "Watch me." or just I wanna learn something new. I wanna take fabric and have people go, "Wait, that used to be flat fabric, like smocking."
Oh, yeah.
Brings me so much joy, because people
Smocking's
go,
so
"How did you
cool."
do that?" Watching people's just heads explode when you say you hand sewed that. It's the most satisfying thing. And is it weird that that's one of the main things, is watching people's like just mental gymnastics that they do to try and figure out how I made something.
Yeah.
It's
I'm really curious, Mercedes and David, what makes you want to continue and what made you start cosplay? Because I don't think we've ever actually talked about that.
I remember, because I've been looking through my timeline on Facebook and other social medias that no one else needs to be looking at. I remember like getting really, really into Helsing and looking at like buying a costume, because I didn't think about actually making the costume, but I was already thinking about making the props. And I think the props have always been like, that's a cool weapon. That'd be cool to have. Because I was designing like how would I mechanically make a gun like the Helsing guns
Right.
out of like wood and springs and dowels and
Oh,
whatnot.
Taking the
And
fantasy and making it reality.
exactly. And like I had a whole mock-up and everything, and then I realized I don't have any of the tools for this, let alone the money for any of these supplies. So
Oh,
that
man.
kind of just got pushed away. But like every now and again, I will see something on TV or a game. Like I was saying before we hit record, I started playing Final Fantasy 15, and I just started getting
Yes.
the previous king weapons, and I got the axe, and I was like, I need that in my life, like hanging.
There's that feeling of I need it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I want
So
it
that's
in
like-
my body. Like that feeling of I want that on my body.
Just so if you need any high-res Final Fantasy 15 references,
Okay.
you know where to look.
I do. I was saying as well, like, because of your Prompto, Panon, like, I can't see Prompto as anything else but you.
Aw.
You
And so I'm just
Prompto.
like, yeah, you are Prompto at this point.
I
And I was
love
like,
Prompto.
yeah, I could see why Panon appreciates Prompto so much. But Panon is Prompto, and Prompto is Panon. Like, the two are synonymous for me at this point.
Nice. That's cute.
So yeah, a cool prop is what inspires me these back then and to this day.
Yeah. What about you, Mercedes?
Props were what got me into it in the first place. That is definitely, like, for sure. Prop making, like, is what I'm addicted to, and it's definitely a lot of the, like, what's the new thing I can learn, as well as what character can I just feel badass wearing.
Yes, mood.
Like, I think that's what still keeps me going right now, is like, oh man, I just feel amazing as this character, and I want to wear their clothes. Normally creepy if it's like a real life person, but you know.
It's seriously the like I said, I want that on my body.
Yep.
Yeah.
It would sound creepy, except it's like, no, I want to make it and spend hundreds of hours making this thing so then I can wear it on my body in
Yep.
too hot of temperature for too long a time in front of a bunch of people. Because I want to make friends, and that's how I know how to make friends.
We don't know how to make friends not dressed up with hot things on our bodies.
No, we have to be able to, like, no, I need to very specifically proclaim who like this is the interest that I have. I need someone who can handle this crazy. If you can't handle this crazy, I don't know if it's gonna work. And that's
it is. It's like a flashing sign.
yeah.
Oh man, I'm crying. This is
ready
so
for this?
funny. Oh, yes.
I mean, that is true. That is absolutely true. So going back to our decade theme, I want to know what all y'all were into in 2010, and then tell me some stuff you're into now. So we'll start with Sam.
Final Fantasy, and as I said before, Squeenix in general, because Kingdom Hearts we weren't angry about not having the third one yet, because it had only been a couple of years. It had only come out with like 2 in between games, but 365 whatever days had come out, so we had a little anger.
Mm-hmm.
We were spite cosplaying at that point from Kingdom Hearts. Panon's right along with me, I feel.
Yep. I played 358 over 2.
I did character panels as Larkseed.
Oh man. That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So that was a couple years after, like, 2010. So 2010 I was working on Gunner Yuna, and I did Garnet from Final Fantasy 9, which
nice.
I made Garnet mostly to cosplay with a friend, which I had Garnet and I had Demix that weekend, and they had Kuja and they had Syax, and we literally kept changing at the wrong times, and we never got photos together. It was ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
But
no, it's funny you say 9, because I was actually looking back on mine and I was like, oh, I did Beatrix that year.
it was the Squeenix time. Squeenix was I made Gunner Yuna, and I was so proud of that thing, because Gradient died for the first time. 2 different colors, because that tail, I am still proud of the hair tail that I made. I ended up selling it. I know how to make another one, and I will just be pleased with that knowledge. It was screen accurate, and I'm so proud. The first time you make a screen accurate prop, sometimes you just gotta just be really, really happy for a bit and be proud.
Yes.
10
Dude,
years later, I'm still proud.
It's the best feeling. No, seriously. It feels so good. You're just like, and I made it. And
Yeah. So I guess then it was Squeenix. Now Disney and Critical Role, D&D.
Yes.
Original characters, oddly enough. Like, I never thought I'd get there, but yeah, original character cosplay has become a big joy, especially right now.
Oh, nice.
Because I feel like, I don't have to go to a con. I can just make this and take photos at home. I don't have any deadlines of like I need to make this instead. Yeah, it's like that, and then Disney, and is it a ball gown? Yes.
Nice. How about you guys, David?
So I was looking through my feed, and this was the year that I got reconstructive rhinoplasty. So I played so many video games in 2010. It was nothing but video games, from Star Wars to Ratchet and Clank. But I played the crap out of Fallout, and I loved that game. I still enjoy that game. It was Fallout 3 specifically. And
Nice.
I just remember thinking, like, this is a lot of fun. I could see myself doing this forever. And then I got into like really serious about this whole relationship thing that I was in, and it kind of that petered out a little bit. But yeah, no, like when it comes to like the games that I'm more willing to play, I'm like, now it's got to have like a really good story. I just finished Wolfenstein over the weekend, and I was like, that story sucked. I don't care what the game was about. I'm a little upset that I spent $20 on this game.
Oh God.
Oh man.
And so to guarantee that I would at least enjoy the next game, I played Final Fantasy 15, which 10 years ago I was playing Final Fantasy 13 and going, this story sucks. This is not good.
Oh my God. Oh God, I was right there with you. I was like, oh, this sucks, but I have a poster of Vanille in my on the side because I loved her aesthetic. And I was like, wait, we get lesbians in this day and age? Don't you dare retcon this for me. But yeah. Right there with you.
Yeah, so
Nice.
Video games was like my true passion. I was very light into anime at the time. But yeah, no, like it was mostly video games at that point, and this one person that I was in a relationship with. What about you guys?
I had to go and scroll back because I was like, what did I wear in 2010? What the heck was I doing? Pandora Hearts.
Me too.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I found the same thing. I did Xerxes Break in 2010.
Me
I
too.
love the Pandora Hearts back then.
That was the year that I did the Marianne birthday on stage with Lexus's Sharon.
Mhm.
And like people, like, it was so funny. Like, we had like a whole skit thing that we did on stage for like the cosplay contest, and it went about as good as beginners can do. It was fun.
Solid novice
still.
effort.
Yes, it was a solid novice effort. Like, we knew that we needed to face the audience, and so like we went on stage, stood in a line, and like delivered our lines in a line.
Oh man.
A solid novice effort.
Yeah. We didn't move around the stage or any of that. We just like it was great.
But you did the thing.
Yeah.
You did the thing.
On the stage, we did the thing.
Then Lexus and I did Bonsai on Broadway, or Broadway Bonsai, or whatever it's called. And like that was way better because I had a friend that was like coaching us on it and was like, oh man, if you're gonna do this, then you need to make sure that like you're emphasizing these things, and here's how you can lip sync to your audio, and like it was really, really fun, and a really great learning experience. So Lexus and I did the Very Merry Birthday song with the Mad Hatter and Sharon's character from Pandora Hearts, and it was like the cutest thing. And we had like a fake kiss at the end of it that like people just roared over. It was great.
Yes.
We were just giggling afterwards, being like, yeah. It was so fun. But I'm like looking at the pictures and I'm just like, oh my gosh, Mercedes.
Oh man.
Your sewing skills, darling. I tried. I
Aw.
sure tried. But, like, I've come a long way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's, like, one of my favorite memories, and that's, like, the year that we did the unbirthday party outside for Lexus's birthday, all in Pandora Hearts cosplay. Like, that was a fun bonsai.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was so much fun. But yeah, Pandora
man.
Hearts, and then after that, I just went deep into the video game cosplays.
I see.
Yeah.
I was looking back through mine, and I was heavy into Clamp, and Tsubasa was like my jam.
Clamp is a consistent. There's for a long time it was a new Chi outfit every couple of years.
Oh man.
Chi.
Well, yeah, because like 2009, 2010 was when I first started like actually entering competition, and my Phi costume was like the first one I went like balls to the wall, like so hard on the
Costume is
craftsmanship.
amazing and insane.
Yeah.
That coat.
It still makes a good blanket.
Yes.
But yeah, so I was really into Clamp. I think Code Geass was just barely a thing.
Code Geass, it had been out since, because my friends tried to get me into it when I was a junior in high school, so it'd been out for a couple, and that was
A little
10 years
bit.
ago. I was 18, so yeah.
Nice.
I've got a really good time frame right now for 10 years. I graduated in 2010, so.
Wow. Let's see. I was super into Vocaloids.
Out of myself here.
Gumi was always my favorite. She's the one with green hair and orange, and she looks like a carrot.
I always love Luca.
You were. I was super into Hetalia.
Oh my gosh, it was the Hetalia years. It was the Hetalia years.
It was the Hetalia years.
Russia for a friend. I didn't dress up, but I made a Russia.
I was Russia because I was the tallest friend.
Yep.
And I actually am amazed that they let me into conventions with an actual steel pipe.
Oh, those were the years. Oh,
I had like little speckles of blood on it. Anyway. I went to peace bonding, and they were like, I guess.
Yep.
Guys,
go to peace bonding.
I'm going. And
oh my gosh.
let's see.
Oh, you went back. What did you find?
I was going back through photos, and I found a picture of my little brother dressed as a Moogle, and I freaking love it.
Oh, cute.
So good.
I'm saving that.
I'm scrolling backwards. I've gotten to 8 years ago now, because I'm curious, like, what all did I cosplay back then? Like, yeah, it's wow.
Many things.
Wow.
As far as like video games, I was also a Squeenix child, so very into those. I had actually just gotten into The World Ends With You, so that's
more Squeenix goodness.
One of my it actually got an anime announced at Anime Expo Light this year, so I'm super excited about that now that it's been a decade. And so I could actually claim that one as 10 years ago and this year. I'm very excited about.
Huzzah!
Let's see. And now I'm just super into apparently what is it? Chinese Donghua, Heaven Official's Blessing, The Untamed. I know I say that like every other time. Am I doing any video game ones? I am doing one. Why can't I think of the video game? I'm sorry, David.
I'm trying to remember what have you, because I feel like you posted did something of what you were working on, or
it's I think Muramasa something.
Yeah.
But she's like a kitsune in the underworld.
Oh, nice.
I'm working on that one. Oh, and of course Camilla from Fire Emblem, because I love my Fire Emblem girls.
Yes.
But aside from that, it's like I have like 3 different versions of Wei Wuxian that I'm working on. So
sometimes you just find a character's like, yeah, do all of them.
I know.
This is me with Jester. It's fine. I get it. Like Critical Role Jester is just for the I need to be you. I need all of the time, and I yeah.
Well, there's a live action version, and he has like 16 outfits in that one, and then there's the TV version or the anime version, and he has like 3 outfits in that one, and then there's the manga.
There's dream / nightmare.
Yeah, it is. And then it just got ported over to Japan, so now there's a Japanese version of the costumes. So anyway, yeah.
We're doomed.
We talked a little bit about
Bless.
what y'all were into, but do you guys remember what cosplays you did that year?
Oh my gosh, I'm just like,
Just got back to my scrolling, and I did Gunner Yuna, I did Sailor Neptune, I remade Red 13. I did a fuzzier thing because it didn't fit anymore. Olette. I just did Olette from Kingdom Hearts. Like,
Oh, from Kingdom Hearts,
yes,
yeah.
I did just that was one of my
The Sea Salt
early,
Trio.
Yep, Sea Salt
Not
Trio.
the Sea Salt. Well,
The Twilight Town Trio.
that's the one. I'm like,
Yes.
I know they had Sea Salt.
Yeah, there's a picture of myself and a friend who I still role play with, and still is a very good friend. They were also my Uranus. They're Hainer with me. We had Hainer, Pence, and Olette.
Nice.
It was good.
Cute. That is good.
Goodwill cosplays. Goodwill cosplays.
We were talking about that recently too.
Yeah, like seriously, the early days, it was a lot of take Goodwill stuff and then paint it or do stuff with it to make it better. And I'm also looking at some of these going, oh dear, you did not know how to pose.
Yeah.
Looking at the old photos going, oh no. But
yeah, I think 2010 was like when I actually started trying to do photo shoots, and I did not know how to pose. I did not a lot of things. But it's a learning experience, right?
I was going to the giant photo shoot meetups. That's the stage I was at in 2010. So there's a ton of photos of me as Red 13 in these giant group meetups, and yeah.
So I was going through mine, and like at that time I was definitely a quantity over quality person. Because I found like 12 costumes I made that year. And it was before I did much competition, so they were all just kind of like together.
Yeah.
Mine was like together, and I still entered them in the contest because I didn't know better.
Nice. I
technically did my first contest that year. I literally an extra. My friend asked me last minute at con, "Hey, can you be an extra in my skit? It's not craftsmanship judged." I was Mokana, as I was the creature that the bad guy summoned to fight the magical girl.
Oh, nice.
It was a sage, and just it was really cute and fun. It's like, technically I got on stage for a contest the first time that year. So
yes.
I didn't enter again for another 3 years, but
Oh man. Let's see. On my list, I have Ringo from Air Gear. If any of y'all remember that one,
yes.
I was not good on rollerblades.
I remember just the rollerblades everywhere. It's like, yep, that's a thing.
Yes. I had 5D Fluorite. I had actually made it in 2009 at the very end of the year, but I wore it so much in 2010, like at every con I went to. Even at AX in the heat of summer, I was like, no, I'm wearing it.
Oh, dude, seriously, though. That is a
that was me with Ty Lee. I wore Ty Lee for years.
Aww.
That was made, I think, 2011, technically, so I can't include it, but...
Aww. I had Jacuzzi Splot from Bakano. Let's see, my Raichu Gijinka, the first one, not Samuraichu.
One of many.
One of many. I did Gumi from Vocaloids. We did like an original design version, and I did her like default version. And they lit up. We actually took them to SakuraCon that year, and we have one of the infamous blown glass trophies from SakuraCon.
Trophies.
Yep.
I'm sorry if you have to edit that out. I apologize.
Yep.
I'm so sorry.
That's what they look
I
like.
literally cannot think of it without saying it.
They're very pretty. They're very pretty blown glass.
Yes, the beautiful blown glass trophies.
Yes. I did Russia from Hetalia. I did Neku Sakuraba from The World Ends With You. I did Xerxes Break. I did the protagonist from Persona 4. I think they ended up naming him Seta Soji, but at the time it was just protagonist. I did Toru Honda from Fruits Basket. We did like an original design where it was like based on like in like Momiji's little imagination when he imagines her as a princess in a like many layered kimono. I was like, what if I did that but made it 13 layers because of all the zodiac? So I did a 13-layer kimono that was a different like themed animal under each layer.
That's insane.
A little bit. I did a cute little like cosplay music video on my YouTube channel that has it. so you can actually see all the layers. But
Nice.
It's amazing. Oh, that's insane.
yeah. And then I did, well, this one didn't really count because I started making it, and ALA is the first con of 2011, but I'm counting it anyway because it was the first Best in Show I ever won, and it was with Boris Array or the Cheshire Cat from Alice in the Country of Hearts, and I was very proud of that one. He's like a punk rock black and pink Cheshire Cat.
Yeah. Yes. I've seen that costume of yours.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So how about you guys, Mercedes?
So this was the first year that I started going to more than one convention a year. I'm like seriously like going down memory lane here. So this is the year that I did the Cyborg Pirate and met Melissa in the bathroom. At Conduit. It's also the year that I went to Geeks with it's the paper Link year when I made the paper sword and shield and and the really bad chainmail my Twilight Princess Link. So there's like a ton of pictures of me wearing all those, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And just me dragging my siblings around being like, look at all this cool stuff that I've been doing, and then being like, what are you doing? Also, Lexus is so cute with her little braces.
Aww.
But she'll hate me for that. But I think I got them all. But like, yeah, that was the year I made the paper craft sword, shield, and scabbard for the Link.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh man, I was so proud of those. I'm still proud of those. Those things are amazing. Lexus actually
Papercraft are hard. Yeah. They're fun, but they are difficult.
I love it. Lexus actually still has my shield and just hangs it up on her wall in her room. But like, oh my gosh, like that was the year I did cosplay chess as Link, and I had so many stories just from this one year. And my fairy got thrown across the chessboard, and I won Best Death because I was like, no,
that was so good. This is the first year I got to do late night cosplay chess at SakuraCon, and that was fun.
Oh boy.
But I'm like looking at all of these and just being like, oh my word. There's a post where it's like sudden craving to play Shadow of the Colossus. That's when I think I started working on it that year. And then the next year, I think the next year was when I was actually like diving into making my first Shadow of the Colossus cosplay, and
Mercedes, you can't go back. You can't go back. We'll lose you. We have a podcast to put together.
No. But what are you into now, Mercedes?
Now, still Shadow of the Colossus.
Some things never change.
It never dies.
And Legend of Zelda, years later I was like, stop cosplaying Link, and then Breath of the Wild came out, and I was like, well, F.
Here's 40 outfits for Link.
Let's see. Still super into video games. I've got like a couple webcomics that I want to start cosplaying from. Just everything PlayStation.
That's a mood.
Yeah, I was really into Tron in 2010.
Oh yeah,
like
I used to have one of those little like identity discs.
Yeah,
that light up.
I was super into Tron. Oh my gosh. Okay, getting out of Facebook. Stop it, Mercedes. Get out of there.
All right, so now that we've established like what the fandoms were of the time and what we were into, what was the hardest part about making costumes back then versus how we do them now?
Okay, I'm just gonna jump right into this. It is not fair that there is chainmail spandex that you can just purchase all willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly.
Like $15 a yard. Meanwhile, I was researching for Chic, and I think I made her like in 2012 actually, but still, I had to pay $40 a yard for that stuff.
Sourcing materials is
make my own pattern for the chainmail print to make it repeat continuously, all that garbage.
that they have like Organization 13 patterns at the store now that you can just buy.
I know!
That boggles my mind. When I saw that, I think I stood there just in disbelief for a solid 5 minutes. My mom came by, I was like, something's wrong. I'm just like, do you remember? Do you remember how many I looked at online to make sure there would be one that just don't? I need to walk away. I need to walk away.
I think I was at the store with Sadie, and Sadie's like, Mercedes, look, there's chainmail spandex. And I just, like, deadpanned.
Oh my god.
That shouldn't be that funny, but it's so funny.
Because, oh god, I think after all the years doing Yuna, the gradient dyed fabric that now just exists for her skirt, and I just go, all right then, walking away now. You can custom print, like the availability of custom printed stuff, the availability of 3D printing. Just
you can
as you know, and not only that, I remember back in 2010, I was able to find tutorials for stuff online, but they were few and far between. When you found it, you bookmark that. You bookmark that because you probably couldn't find it again, and you sent it to everybody you knew who asked about it.
Yes, I had a special folder on DeviantArt, because DeviantArt was the place to find your tutorials.
Yes, and you had to look at them in like 10 or 12 different parts on different images that in order in the person's folder. Like,
oh my gosh.
Yes.
Do you remember Katie Bear's wig stubbing tutorial? Because I used that for all my Sailor Moon.
The first time I did that for Viola, I used the same tutorial that I'd saved 5 years previous.
I ordered the wig dye from Katie Bear, and I swear she did not send me Twilight Purple. She sent me Cotton Candy Pink, because that wig was so pink when I was done with it. I was just like, again, I have no luck with dyeing things.
Oh man, dyeing things is hard.
Dyeing is hard.
Why do you custom print? Because every time I try, it fails horribly.
So at the time, I could not read Japanese to save my life. I was taking a college course on it, but I got these magazines called Cosmode that were like cosplay magazine from Japan that came with like patterns and tutorials and stuff. And I would sit there and like with my little katakana dictionary and my kanji dictionary and like go back and forth and be like, okay, what's it telling me to do? And like just trying to parse it together from the pictures. Looking at, why don't we have these here?
Looking at the pictures for the makeup tutorials and going, yeah, I totally can't do that. Or they had sailor or like the school uniform patterns, like, and I'm just like, need how do pictures? They're not enough pictures.
I still have a massive stack of those, and that's one of the things I learned was how to grade patterns to larger sizes, because it only comes in the like really tiny one size in their books, but learned how to size things up.
Yep. Like I had to do that at some point, because like every time I was asked, I bought a couple things online. It's like, I need to, biggest size, and I wasn't even that big, and I'm like, come on, really?
Man, I think wigs were one of the biggest mysteries to me back then, because I was too scared to style most of them, and so I just like maybe trim them, maybe, and even then it turned out kind of a disaster.
Okay, finding any wig in the color that you needed.
Oh yeah, and then the fear with eBay wigs, because it was all eBay wigs, or because I couldn't afford / didn't want to ask my parents to use their credit card to get Amphigory. If you ever want to read the age of a cosplay room, just say Amphigory.
No, seriously. I got so many wigs from there, but it was so pricey. I was always like, oh my gosh, I'm going to ruin this.
I didn't have a credit card, and I didn't make any money, so I had to beg for anything. I was like, can I get eBay wig, please? And I had a Sailor Neptune wig that I cherished because it was so good. It had a skin top, and I was like, this is my baby. I still have that wig. I've had that wig for 12 years.
We used to call it eBay wig roulette because you never quite knew what the quality was going to be.
At least at one point,
Seriously.
it was like they had the wig auctions were good. There was like a year or two where you could get $5 or $10 wigs or wig auctions, and it was like, you know what? If it's terrible, I can deal with that.
Oh my gosh, I just hit my elbow.
Oh no.
The Amphigory website still exists, and it looks exactly the same.
Oh, no way!
Gosh.
It's like
Blast from the
it's
past.
like the garbage. Like, it's this. I mean, I don't want to be mean, but like, it's not really well organized. Everything's just like one
Oh my gosh.
page of wigs. Oh my gosh.
It's like in a time capsule.
It is a time
seriously
capsule.
Oh, there's the one that I bought for that.
Yeah,
And
if you want to see what we had in 2010 for the high, this is the high, price, the nice wigs, go to Amphigory, and that's 2010 in a cosplay nutshell.
like, some of these are still good.
It's not bad. It's stuff like, yes, you can work with it, and it was like, in person, I'd be like, oh my gosh, your wig is so nice. That's the best wig.
Oh, man.
But I couldn't, and it's like, this is the stuff that I wanted, and now I'm like, I won't buy it unless it's lace front.
Oh, man.
Like, I've changed so much. When you have the backstock from 10 to 15 years of cosplaying, you don't buy a wig. It's like, you're going to buy a wig, you're going to buy a nice one, because you probably have an approximate color that you could chop up already, but you want a nice one. If you want a new wig,
right?
because now you can find wigs for decently priced lace fronts places that are lace fronts are not $100.
Yeah. That's been the big thing, is like, lace fronts have come down in price to where they're like actually affordable for once, and it's so nice.
The number of tutorials
really
that exist
nice
for doing the fake hairline because lace fronts were just so inaccessible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, true.
So many crazy tutorials on how to do that.
I could never do it.
We've mentioned tutorials. Do you guys remember the like crazy searches for reference images? I remember having to go to like so-and-so's shrine to this character on GeoCities. That's probably a little before 2010. But like, you had to like go through their gallery of images and wait for them to load a page at a time.
So, anybody who made your costume...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, we're talking over each other.
We're excited.
I was gonna say, anybody who made the costume that you wanted to make, you would immediately message them and be like, "Where's your references?"
the mad dash for Sailor Moon references. Even then, it was still a just wait. Is it this one? Is it this version? If you wanted the specific season of Sailor Moon, it was a hunt for the reference images. And now there's people who have dedicated like, oh, which season, which costume, I got you.
Yeah, it's like the whole reason why I draw all my references now is that I just get that huge collection and then I turn it into my own front, back, side, done. So I don't have a million pictures I gotta look at to be like, oh shoot, what does that back piece look like again?
I think there was a point where it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna play the game up to this point and then get real close to the character and take pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's crazy now with specifically Final Fantasy 15, wow, I can't talk today, is there's, if you have it on the PC, there's an add-on thing called Ansel, and it lets you pause the game at any time, and you can like 360 view, zoom in, zoom out, like close up on the characters from any angle you want.
They've given in to the cosplayers. They know.
They've given us like
how things have changed. Like I was given T-pose models of a game once, so that because they wanted cosplayers to make a thing. And I'm just like, they released those to the public, and I'm just like, what is this?
I was like, Horizon Zero Dawn? They were like, hey, cosplayers, by the way, our game's not out yet, but here's the full rundown on Aloy's outfit. High definition, zoom in as close as you want. And then they even had like a freaking documentary on PlayStation about all these girls who made Aloy cosplays. And I was just like, oh!
They know their audience.
Awesome.
It's become, I guess, a good thing to take is now, 10 years later, cosplayers are being catered to as a market for video games.
Yeah.
Like,
it's neat.
I think there's legit more costume options and more aesthetic options in video games. They're like potentially because of the interest in costuming, and the interest in dressing up as those characters and bringing them to life.
Yes.
Like, it's I'm mildly proud. I didn't realize that. I just in that position of the wait a second. Did we cause this? I hope I'm not crazy. Because yes, please, thank you.
Man.
Yes, please, thank you so much.
Yes, we appreciate this.
Right.
Yes, please.
I love being able to find reference images so easily. It's so nice. It's so nice.
Like, the first time I got, it's like, oh, you need reference images? Yeah, here's a full everything. And I think I cried. I nearly cried, especially for like Jester. When I saw the layer breakdowns. So even for things that aren't necessarily, virtual, like I dress up from Critical Role, like artists who design things have started to do breakdowns for cosplayers.
I love that.
Flutter has started. I'm on Patreon for them, and they give full layer breakdowns, and I'm just like hum. For competition purposes, I'm just so happy. So it's artists draw for cosplayers now. Like things are made for like, hey, yes, feel free to cosplay this. I'm just like,
Pterodactyl
give me that
noises.
detail, because the artists can do so much more detail than animators, because you don't have to animate it.
That right.
So just yes. Happy screeching pterodactyl noises, yes.
So we briefly touched on tutorials, like how they were back then. Have you guys actually been the ones to like do them yourselves now? Do you feel like they're a lot easier to access now?
I keep saying I'm gonna make some and then I don't.
I was, and then I realized I'm just gonna start streaming on Twitch, and then people can ask me questions live. Because it's so much easier for me to be able to, oh, you need this? Yeah, let me grab a scrap piece of fabric and show you the thing. Or you're curious as to what I'm doing? Yeah, I can show you right now. Because
that is so smart.
You don't have enough. I'm bad with visual with words typing. And so I have way too much anxiety when it comes to the written words. So I'm like, is this going to be confusing to people? Is my language okay? It's like, nope, just film me. Just film.
Yeah, I've actually started learning video editing and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, you know what? I actually feel like I love drawing out tutorials and things like that, but I usually get bored about halfway through. But like a video, you can do it almost in one sitting of like, get all of the shots that you need, and then you just edit it together. I say that like it's easy. And, you can upload it. But like, I enjoy editing videos, and so now I'm like, I should probably start trying that instead of trying to write out a tutorial that I get bored with halfway through.
I put a couple tutorials online. I've got a basic scale mail and a basic how to rhinestone on YouTube, and I found that I think a lot of tutorials now come in YouTube form because that visual format is really nice for, how you, then it's like, oh, flip this fabric around and do this, and people go, huh?
Yeah. Anytime you turn something inside out, my brain breaks.
Yeah, exactly. So if you show a video of it, then it tends to work. So I found that's the easiest way for me to like give knowledge. Or I try to take photos of my process, and I'll do like, basic construction, like in an Instagram description with, look at this picture for this thing. That's the closest I've gotten to tutorials, like officially, but. Yeah, because it's so much work to take all the pictures and arrange them with the text. Remember, wait, did I take the right thing? Did I take enough photos? Crap, it's already done. Ah! I've tried before and it just didn't work. So I appreciate that nowadays there's access to video and access to visual, and live assistance is out there.
Oh, yes, it's so fantastic. Like, everything is so much more accessible and just easier to find in general, and it's so nice.
Yeah, because it used to be like, you want to learn things? You got to find someone who's done it in person. Or like...
Or wing it.
Wing it. Wing it. It was a long wing it. But like the weird techniques, like the weird historical techniques that we end up grabbing for competition purposes, there's things that we wouldn't even think of or know about unless we saw someone with it. And with the internet now, it's like, oh yeah, I can learn about this without having to see it in person, which still, it is a big, big plus to go doing competitions and going in green rooms of, I get to see the things, see the fancy techniques. But like back then, it was the literal only way. So a lot of the higher like tier techniques you only saw them in competition spaces. Whereas now it's like, I'll see gold work on the con floor. like not just backstage or, you know, heavy embroidery in costumes that aren't just for competition.
I feel like too there was a lot more like tightly guarding techniques, whereas these days people are more willing to be like, oh yeah, I just did this, or here's a tutorial that I used, or you know,
the gatekeeping. And actually, there was a sorry, my brain is breaking. Sorry, David.
It's the first time a guest has invoked the sorry, David.
We should make stickers that just say sorry, David.
This is my third time here, I think. So do I feel like I've earned sorry, David?
I think that's fair. That's fair.
But just it used to be the only way to get information was through competitions or through the gatekeeping was a lot more strict in the, I want to say, in the masquerade in the sci-fi fantasy community, and the anime community kind of changed that around, you know, in the early, like 20 years ago kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now it's just that trend is continued with the, oh yes, you want to know how to do something, take my knowledge. Like, here is the knowledge. It's I'm glad that trend has kept up instead of reverting back to what I kind of grew up with and seeing in the sci-fi fantasy masquerades of the gatekeeping. And it was funny enough. It was the thing that broke that was a woman sharing how she made EVA foam gauntlets.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
So that was like, that opened up the, I could keep this a secret and keep winning competitions for a couple of years, or
share it with everybody, because the craftsmanship, how well you do it, still comes through practice and learning, and teaching and sharing those techniques. I think is so important.
So the community in that way, I think the competition community and the general cosplay community as a whole has continued in the trend of sharing and trying to make it more accessible in terms of you can't afford to do this thing, here's what you can do with a lower budget, or here's a tutorial on how to turn cheap things into something that looks fantastic.
For sure. So do you feel like the areas that people emphasize in cosplay have changed over the years? Like, do you see people... I feel like back in the day, people were more interested in just like churning,
like making a lot more costumes for as many for every fandom that they were in, so they could dress up with all their friends.
I still see that a lot today with the social media, like people trying to keep up on trend and doing stuff really fast. It just feels like a little bit different because we don't have the access to things as quickly. Like, I'll see such a fast turnaround these days on like new costumes that come out.
It is. I think, I don't know, because personally it's changed for me because I put a lot more, I make more costumes simply because my speed has increased, but I don't tend to make as many different characters, or I don't tend to make as many casual or random cosplays. I'm swinging back on that. Like, for a few years I didn't, and now I'm swinging back on doing a lot more casual stuff because we've all been kind of cooped inside and like, hey, what have I got in my closet? For fun, photo shoots at home. But I don't know. I think there's more pressure to put out new content on social media if that's where you're going. That's, I think, where that has changed. So if you're only making a couple things, it's a lot more obvious. Whereas whereas before it's like, oh, you'd only see people at cons. So if they had 3 costumes, you saw them twice a year. You don't see repeat costumes until for a couple years. Like, it's, as opposed to now, it's there's constant social media, there's constant, there's so much more content coming out. Like, the amount of anime that is coming out now is astronomical, and the amount of fandoms that are included in conventions, because Comic-Con is all included, like the Comic-Cons and anime conventions and sci-fi fantasy and just fandom conventions in general. It's all combining, and there's so much content and so many different fandoms out there in that cosplay. It's grown and it's gotten insane. So I just went full galaxy brain on you guys, just like realizing, oh my gosh, that is insane. How am I still here? Just going full galaxy brain. It's fine.
Do you feel like you see more like of an even balance between like maybe armor versus fabric these days than you did
I see
before,
so much
or do
more
you feel like
armor now.
it's stayed
I
about the
see
same?
so much more armor because
Yeah?
it's so much more accessible. The armor used to be the, oh my gosh, you see maybe 3 of them, like 3 full armor cosplays at an entire convention. And one of them is a cardboard Gundam. Like,
Yes.
that was what I got. What I with everything was, it was fabric, because this is what we had access to. And anybody who had bits of armor, it was like, holy crap, how did you do that? And I think there is a lot more armor, and it, weirdly enough, for a few, I feel like it swung like even more heavily that direction when it became more accessible. And now it's weirdly, I think it's evened out. I see a really, really even mix of armor and sewing, and a combination of them, like special effects, body paint. There's so many more aspects, I think, brought into cosplay than there used to be. Like lighting alone.
It's so freaking cool. Like, just when you think you have like learned all there is to learn, someone will come up with a new technique or a new like special effect, like you were saying, and I'm like, how? What? I want to learn
Changeling
that.
brain must use this.
I need it.
I saw like an animated GIF just last week, and it was a Chinese costume that's used in theater where the mask can change instantly on their face.
I saw that.
Did
one
you see
too.
that?
I was like, what is this magic?
And it's like an old technique, and I'm like, but how?
And it is a secret. Like, you cannot learn it unless you are accepted into like this very prestigious school, and if anyone like reveals the technique, they disappear, kind of like that level of secret.
Oh, dang.
Like,
oh, dang.
It's like,
but it's just like, it's so cool. I didn't even know that existed as a technique, you know?
Like, and the things you discover is just you just immediately, I want to use that for cosplay. Like, you're not just like, I want a hexadecimal cosplay with that. Like,
that was my exact thought, is like, what cosplay would work with that?
That's why I already have one on my list, and now I want to. When Watchmen came out, people figuring out how to make Rorschach masks that actually change,
that move?
That still blows my mind. And someone figured that out for cosplay. Like, think about that, guys. Like,
do not underestimate our willingness to make the impossible real.
Like, in the movie, it was special effects. It was not practical effects, and someone did that.
Fun fact, in the first Iron Man movie, he couldn't move his legs because they couldn't figure out how to make the armor so that he could move. A cosplayer made it to walk around in a convention, and they hired them for the next movie.
Holy crap!
Like, guys, do not underestimate the length that cosplayers will go to figure stuff out. Or the stuff that cosplay can inspire, just because going, I want to do that, but I have to walk around by myself. I don't have special effects. It's amazing.
Man.
I love that.
So, on the topic of special effects, I want to talk briefly about performances, like memorable performances from 2010 versus memorable stuff you see nowadays on stage at conventions.
I remember 2010, it was all comedy skits.
Oh, yeah.
Comedy, like, and it was... I remember someone trying to do a really serious skit, and everybody was just waiting for the punchline, but it never came because it was a serious skit, and people didn't know what to do. They were like, people were awkwardly chuckling, and it was like Evangelion. And I remember it was just one of those like, it was really serious, and everybody was so confused.
Oh, man.
Nowadays, like, serious, because people get into it. Like, it's... And weirdly, if that performance, even though everybody was confused, I remember it because, like, I don't even know this series, but emotion. I feel it. Also, their costumes were really good. Like, they were actually did the latex suits at the time. Like,
that's awesome. So I remember being like absolutely wowed at the masquerade at NondesCon that year because there was a cosplayer in Trinity Blood. And they had wings on pulleys that they flipped up when they moved their hands forward. And surprise, it's Enoli.
Oh my gosh,
before, but at the time I was just like, how?
Would you flail at people?
And nowadays you see like hydraulic wings that can move on their own. But this was just like, Yeah. Like, both are impressive, but like that it's evolved that much in such a short time is crazy to me.
I remember, I think even ball gowns back then, I think the most impressive ball gown I saw, I think it was Rosario. No, was Trinity Blood? I can't remember. It's the black dress that looks like a rose. Everybody did because it was the anime ball gown.
Oh man,
like the one I'm talking about.
I'm drawing a complete blank. I feel like I know it, but I don't.
Trim on it, and it's got like the red detailing. It's just a ball gown that looks like a black rose, like a flower.
Oh,
and it's like a bud.
I'm totally
feel
drawing
like it's probably Trinity Blood or something. But yeah,
probably.
Honestly, the fact that I think there were only like maybe 3 ball gowns to choose from, and if you wanted to cosplay a ball gown from an anime, you had like 3 options. And now with the I have artist renditions. There's more. It's I can make a historical version of this character because I wanna, and that's something that I don't think I would have ever seen. But like back then, like the ball gowns, like the scope of them, they're so much bigger. Like you can fit so many more people under them nowadays.
They've gotten bigger in many ways,
and it pleases me. Just yeah. The fact that you can see a pile of multiple people in ball gowns at the same convention, that alone.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, just a couple years ago at one of our local conventions, there was like, speaking of special effects, I would have never thought to see this on a stage, but someone did like a Sephiroth and Aerith cosplay set, and they did like the magic trick where you stick a sword through someone on the stage, and I was like, oh!
It's one of those like, but how? By the magic of the fandom tears.
People have just like branched out crazily. Like, we still see like dance skits, but I feel like there's so much tighter rehearsed because you have access to videos that show the entire dances. You have like turnarounds on things. You have access to how some special effects and magic tricks work.
I've seen skits with like 3 quick changes in them, and like okay, I wasn't even talking about my own. I was just like at Kumo last year. There was one, or that they changed outfits. No, it wasn't Kumo. It was ALA. They changed outfits like 4 or 5 times, and I'm just like.
I remember that one at NDK where they had the Castlevania set that, like, she changed costumes 3 times, and one of them was a dress that went up in flames because she was burned at the stake, and I was like, that's too freaking
seriously. Oh.
I still get goosebumps thinking about it.
And then there's stuff with people doing with sets. I think it was the Legend of Zelda one from Mexico all those years ago. Like a couple years ago.
Oh,
and the set that blew everyone's mind. All you say is Legend of Zelda and WCS in Mexico. Everybody
everybody knows what that is. It's amazing.
So just the stuff that was like, how is this even possible? And it's theater tricks. It's stuff that's been around for probably decades that people just that people repurpose for cosplay, and it's they'll discover it like because the internet, we're able to share things now, and so it's I saw this cool thing, and half the time when you ask people, they'll go, oh yeah, here's how we did it. Don't demand that, don't expect that. And if they say it's a secret, respect it. But just saying.
So, as far as social media goes, since it's like gotten exponentially huge lately, how do you feel like that's changed cosplay? Because, like, I remember back in the day, like, it was a big deal to even have a Facebook page or like a MySpace page or whatever that had your cosplays on it, or just cosplay.com account.
I didn't get a cosplay.com because I didn't feel like doing it at the time. Like, that's the level of social media wasn't a big deal. Like, I didn't even get one, and now it's...
Now it's like there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's Tumblr.
Now I go to cons. I talk to people at cons, and the first thing people ask is like, "Oh yeah, what's your handle so I can follow you?" That's how people. That's how people. You don't add people on Facebook anymore, or it's like it's on Instagram or Twitter or whatever people's chosen, and Twitch. Exactly. So it's definitely changed.
Do you feel like there's a way more emphasis on being out there and being seen online these days than there was before?
Because it's the people talk about what they see online, and it's I don't know. I guess it's weird because I didn't even think about social media when I was doing cosplay, so I can't even like have a reference of, oh, what did I think of social media back then? I'm like, I was aware it existed. Like, I think it's caused more focus on trying to get photo shoots, and it definitely means that you schedule your time differently at conventions, like making sure that you get photos of your costumes, not just for you, but to share for everyone else, to show off your work, which I do like that social media has created a way to share our work, because we put a ton of work into what we do.
Oh, yes.
And it's great to have people get to see it outside of the small group that gets to see it on that one day that we wear it at con.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because actually one of the things I'm sad about is back in the day, I didn't really document hardly any of my costumes. And so I have it in my like grand list of everything I've made back in the day, but like I don't have pictures of a ton of it. There's stuff that just, I don't know, maybe someone got a hallway shot of it. I don't know.
I've got at least a half dozen cosplays that I don't even have hallway shots of. It's now we think about it. Now at least even if I don't have anything else, I have got a selfie. I didn't even think of like, I have no photos of like groups, like my groups of friends and stuff from cons and stuff. It's not a thing that I thought about to do. Whereas now people are doing vlogs constantly at cons, and there is the negative of people thinking about social media at times, but then there's also the positive of, I wouldn't know a lot of the people that I call good friends without social media, without the internet, with showing my cosplays online. So,
I think another big push for like the social media and having an online presence has been the push for something that I never thought was even a thing when I started, and now it's like a big thing, which is professional cosplayers. Like, that is such a strange concept to me even now, but like it makes sense in some ways of like, you can get out there, you can promote yourself in this way. And for me personally, a professional cosplayer is someone like Yaya Han, where you have a brand, you have stuff that you're like out there selling and giving back into the community, and not just, being paid to go to conventions, which I know is another type of it, but to me that's a little different.
There's another side of it where I guess I've been called a professional cosplayer because I make my living off of doing Twitch streams of cosplay, and that's where the living is. So it's like, I guess technically, but it's not how I think of myself. Like, it's a weird thing. So,
but it's like you're giving back to the community in a way that you're showing, oh, hey, this is how you make this stuff, or this is how you put this thing together. It's more than just going to conventions, what I think a lot of people think a professional cosplayer is. It's more you're providing
a service to
the community. Yeah. And it's like, it's incredible, like how influential people have become for those sort of things. And it's so, so cool.
So it sounds like it's less that you're being like professionally this character, but you're more a professional teacher almost.
Like it's more like a professional cosplayer. It's a way of creating a community. I jokingly call mine the Kohai Army, because so many people jokingly called me like, can we be your Kohai? Or it's like, senpai, teach us sewing. It's like, okay, that's kind of how it started. And I wanted to teach as many people as possible, and I wanted to spread that knowledge. So it's like, all right, Kohai Army, spread your knowledge, go forth, be kind. And so that's
Yeah, that's awesome. I really love that. How do you think, I guess, looking toward the future, how do you think cosplay is going to evolve in social media?
I'm a little afraid to think of that. Like, it's one of those, like,
that's a hard question, right?
I can only see it going more like heavily there, especially, after 2020. It has a lot more, like, just like as a millennial on TikTok alone, that's been, cosplay on TikTok is been insane, and I see that being it's even more visual media. It's more like creating tons of content, which I kind of hope that once cons can start again, it slows down a little bit, because my gosh, there's so much content, cannot keep up. Too much. Too much. Like, that's the thing that I fear, is that the rate that people take in content is going to get so high that we can't keep up, or the level of keeping up will completely burn cosplayers out. So I guess that's the thing
I see.
I think no matter how important, quote unquote, social media becomes to the cosplay world, or to being popular, I don't think it should ever be the reason that people get into cosplay is social media popularity, or the reason you keep cosplaying, or don't let social media stop you from doing what you love. Like, just because, like, oh, it won't be popular on social media, it's like, I don't care. I'm going to do this character because I love it.
So on that note, since the idea of a cosplay community has really evolved over the years, tell us a little bit about like how that's changed for you. Like, when you first got started, what did cosplay community mean, and what is it now with your cosplay kohai army?
I guess when I started, my cosplay community was very local. It was people who I saw at the one convention, or one or two conventions I went to, a close group of friends. That was kind of the cosplay community that I knew of. I didn't really know, like it wasn't as global. It wasn't as widespread. Now my cosplay community it feels like it's a lot larger. Like, I consider it to be Pacific Northwest, as that's my home community. And then with the Kohai Army, it feels like I have a personal community, another. It's like a small, very small convention, like those small, barely starting conventions, like, a few hundred people. You know everyone here, and it's. I think each cosplayer wants. Okay, it's having a weird, hard time trying to put into words, because streaming creates a very interesting kind of community, because it's like I'm talking with people for 4 to 6 hours, 3 times a week. You end up getting to know people on a very different way than you would if you were just seeing them at conventions. And so having a community that is a lot closer, just not necessarily the global cosplay community or everyone out there, and just that smaller group, even if that smaller group is still a few hundred people, I think it's important to have that grounding thing and not think of the cosplay community as everyone. Like, you don't have to be a part of everyone. You find your people. I think it's very important to find those people within that community that you like.
I think that's a really good point. Like, the cosplay community is way more far-reaching. Like, you can reach people all over the globe now, but you also can parse it down and break it down into smaller groups and be like, these are my friends. This is my little community. These are,
Yeah. And of course, awesome. With the internet, you're able to be like, okay, here is. With like Discord groups and stuff, you can be like, oh, here's my friends from this fandom, and here's the people I scream at about this ship, and here's like, it's that kind of stuff has been wonderful. So people can find a community that works for them, and sometimes it might not. I found that it's not always the community that's your favorite fandom, but it might be the right one that fits for you. Like, I have people on my Discord who are not cosplayers, but they're just like, hey, we vibe and we like it here, and I'm like, yes, please enjoy. So. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, I love that. So we like to end out every episode with a cosplay horror story. Do you have one you'd like to share?
Oh man, I think, okay, I remember, I'm trying to remember the one that I shared last time so I don't repeat. And so I think I shared Legend of Zora last time, so I will not repeat that one. Okay, geez, it's one of those words, like, I've had a few, but none of them have been like the worst ever. I think, because most of them are like, no, that's kind of just embarrassing. That's just wait, that's kind of like that's kind of gross. Like, not in a fun. It's not a fun kind of horror story. It's that's kind of gross.
Oh no.
I think I will get to one, and I'll say, David, cut here. So this was at Emerald City Comic Con. My first time ever. I was going to be competing in Belle that year. It was my second Emerald City. I was.
I know this one.
I was in Cinderella, with a giant giant blue dress, and I was posing for a picture, and I hear someone scream across the way, "My princess, my princess!" And I just start waving, and I go, "That's Yondu. That's Yondu." And I blew him a kiss. He's like, "That's Michael Rooker, by the way." So I blew him a kiss, and then I'm waving, and then he goes out the door, and he rounds the corner, comes back through the entrance, his handlers trailing after him, and he just comes by and says, "Oh, my princess," and hugs me. And at this point, I'm like, what is happening? I start disassociating at this point because I don't know what to do. I'm like, is this real life? And he hugs me, and then he just grabs me and starts dancing with me. I'm stepping on my dress at this point because I'm just, what's happening? And so my foot is on my dress. He just moves me. Like I'm standing, and he just slides me across the floor as I'm standing on my dress. I'm like, holy crap, this man can dance. Like, he leads me. And so we danced for like 15 seconds, and I think someone got it on film at the last second. It was just so spontaneous, and then he hugs me again. It's like, "Do you want to get an actual picture?" It's like, "Yeah." And I went, "Do you want to get a picture popping out from under my skirt?" And he he takes a second. I have three photos of celebrities under my skirt now. So he looks at me and goes, "Yeah." And so he goes under. He settles. By the way, everybody who does this, they settle underneath, like get full settle, and then lift it above. He does the full, like, "All right, ready for me to pop out?" Like, "Yep." And he does the full thing, like Merle looking out from undercover, and I just got this shocked look on my face.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I love that.
This photo got posted on his Instagram about a week after con.
Wow.
No, I can confirm with ball
Yeah, I was gonna say, for those who don't know, like, Momma Sammu loves taking photos like this with everybody.
I have in my collection. I've had Weird Al and George Takei.
How? He's so old and fragile.
It's funny
now.
though.
His handlers, he says, like, if I go down, I don't know if I can come back up. And his handler said, "We will help you," because they wanted it to happen. It was one of those, like, yeah. Wow. Weird Al, I asked him ahead of time, and then when I came by, his handler said, "Oh, he warned us about you." And I went, "What? Okay, I guess that's good." He was all for it. He was down.
No, it's funny. Like, when you're in a ball gown, people are like, I'm just so curious, like, what's under this?
Because we wear, like, multiple layers. I tend to wear underwear, dance tights, and then a cute pair of underwear that's generally character appropriate. Or it's pajamas if it's winter. So yeah.
Or depending on the character, bloomers, it's like bloomers, or sometimes if I'm lazy, it's pajama pants.
So yeah, I guess that was after he left, I think I stared at everyone going, that happened, right? That happened. So yeah, it's because all my horror stories involve the and after I got off stage, I puked in a trash can.
Oh
no!
Heart condition things. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So good.
Oh no. So Momma Sammu, tell us one more time where we can find you online.
You can find me at Momma Sammu on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me twitch.tv/Momma Sammu. I tend to stream 3 to 4 days throughout the week. And at Momma Sammu just about everywhere else. TikTok, Momma Sammu Cosplay on Facebook, I think.
And spell us Momma Sammu just to be safe.
Yes. MOMMA SAMMU.
Yay.
I spell it weird.
Double M's on both words.
I keep it consistent. Like,
nice. Well, thank you so much for being on our show. It's always fun to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you guys have a story you'd like to share with us, whether it's a horror story or a fun finding a celebrity under your ball gown story, you can send that to us at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or
go to the website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, and fill out the contact form, or
you can message us on our Facebook page and join our group while you're there and sharing all the fantastic sharing your cosplay stuff, because we love to see that stuff.
Yes.
Also, while you're on the internet, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podchaser, wherever, just like Giovanna Perez did. The podcast, they say, is so nice to listen to while I work on my own cosplay. I can work, since I can relate to the stories so much. Thank you so much, Giovanna. That was very nice of you to say. while you're on the internet and leaving us a review, you can also join our Patreon. We have 2 tiers, a $3 tier where we give you a shout out on the show, and a $5 tier. The $5 tier, we have Shock H, who is able to watch our D&D live stream as it comes out, watch all the crazy art that V-Fire puts out, and some of the fantastic role-playing. I'm really excited to move forward with this next little section, because now that the players have their backgrounds and kind of whatnot set, we're going to start going with like a more actual story instead of just like, here, go to this con, here, go to that con. So it's going to have a plot. Yeah.
Okay, that reminds me. You need to talk to Sadie about a dream that she had. About all of that. It was great. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well,
but yeah, also shout out to Silver Deeds, who is our other patron. So, yeah.
Hey. If you'd like to join us, it's patreon.com/cosplaystitch. A big thanks to Macy Roberts, as always, for the use of the theme song, and David Jeffress for his amazing editing. How are your podcasts going, David?
They're doing good. Dungeons and Chill, we are still on our little bit of our break right now as we work on Curse of Strahd, and we, for Comic Trades Monthly, we have our Vision episode out, and it's one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. We are also covering Chew by Robert Lehman. Talked about it last episode.
Yes.
It's a favorite read of mine. And then as I read it, there are some references that made sense in like 2008, 2009 when this was written, and then it makes a whole lot more sense in 2020. And you're just kind of like, how did you know? So that's good fun.
Sounds good. Well, thank you guys as always for listening. We love to have you. We love our cosplay community. We love hearing from you.
Y'all are amazing.
Just remember to be the positive change you want to see in your community. And we need you now. I can't talk today. I need help. I need help now more than ever. We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.